Hey everybody, I am Tommy and you are on the lifeboat, and I'm working with a mouse, so bear with me here. But have a good time shopping, brother. Appreciate you, and be safe, please, while you're out there. I know you're in the frozen tundra. It's a real talk. Man's in the frozen tundra. All right, people, do me a favor. Let me know how much you know, right? If you're familiar with this case, give me a 3. If you're really familiar with this case, give me a deuce. Of course, I'm talking about the Madeleine Soto case. Mother's name is Jennifer Soto. Has a boyfriend named Stephen Stern. And this case is out of Florida. And the reason I ask is because we are going to be looking at this. This is a case. London in the house. Good to have you here. I love it when people say where they're coming in from, by the way. Absolutely floats my boat. I'm not lying. If you're not here in the good old US of A, feel free to always throw that out there. And if you're in the good old US of A, toss it out where you're from anyway. No, you do not know. Well, that's good, because here's the thing. A lot of times, and amazingly, I do not have a watch on. Can you imagine? A lot of times, by the time people find me, I'm deep into something. And we're really into a case, and there's a lot of allegedlys, and there's a lot of things going on. This is going to be a very different kind of a case. And we're going to be talking about this here. I'm going to be taking this thing through its fruition. And by that, I mean I would like to be there for the trials of Stephen Stern. And I say trials because there are going to be multiple trials of this guy. But I'm going to start at the very beginning. So if you do not know anything about this case, I'm going to tell you what we're going to be talking about. And it's going to be a long process, people. This is going to be one that we're going to deep dive together. I'm going to take you guys through the process of, I'm going to show you exactly how I came up to the conclusions that I came to on this, because this is one of those cases, more than Sean Combs, more than any of the other ones I've seen. If people like us don't freak the hell out on this case, someone who is viciously involved in this, in my humble opinion, very well could go unpunished. Okay? This started, not this year, obviously, but the previous one, February the 26th. February 26th, a girl is reported missing. And I guess you could say it started really before that. She had just had her 13th birthday. Girl named Madeleine Soto. And we don't know a hell of a lot about her. Here's what we do know. Are you ready? She's kind of lazy and she's disorganized. She forgets things all the time. She has ADHD. There's not really anything great to say about her. Now, it's a crappy thing for a human being to say, but I'm just repeating what her mom said. Because every time her mom's interviewed, and we're going to show you some of this down the road, because again, this is probably going to take 10 or 12 shows, maybe more than that. This is going to be one we can all deep dive together. This is one of the most disturbing cases that I've ever come across in my life, because this is going to scream to every one of you. You do not have to be a convicted felon. You do not have to be somebody that has been in the legal system. You have to be sentient. You have to be smart enough to be walking erect. And if you're doing it on 2 feet, you're going to watch this and say, the mother is in on this. This is one of those things that, I mean, I'm hoping, right? I'm hoping against hope that they're just building a case, and we haven't seen them charge the mother yet for X, Y, and Z reasons or whatever, because every single time you take a look at anything that happens in this, the mother looks wrong. Now, I'm the first, and you guys, if you've been on the boat for any length of time, I'm the first person to say everybody reacts different to trauma. Everybody. There are people that feel the need to talk and they have to get everything out. And there are people who react to trauma very differently. They get very, very quiet. When your child goes missing, that's not trauma. See, on February 26th, Stephen Stern was the stepfather figure. They're not married. But the man who is the stepfather figure in this situation takes his stepdaughter, his girlfriend's kid, to school. drops her off at school, goes to a vape shop, runs around, does some errands, blows his tire out. And when I say blows his tire out, you have never had a flat tire. I have never had a flat tire. No one has ever had a flat tire. Dale Earnhardt Jr. has not had a flat tire. This dude had a flat tire. When they finally take a look at it, because he's driving around on a donut when they find him, when his tire popped, wherever he was a little too afraid to pull right over. He just kept driving, and he just kept driving. And if you've ever seen somebody do this, eventually the tire disintegrates and it blows completely off, and what you get is just a little bit of rubber where the bead actually was into the groove. Everything else is gone. This dude blew out. There was nothing left of this tire at all. And anybody that's ever seen somebody like in a police chase or someone that's just in a bad neighborhood or scared or whatever, and they're not pulling over, they're going to ride on that. You've all seen it happen. There's nothing left of this tire. But at that same day, at about 9 o'clock at night, 8 o'clock at night, they report their kid missing. When a child goes missing and the reporters show up, you can't shut somebody up. It's really an easy thing to do. And the behavior panel talks about this, and they do it genius. And there's a lot of other people that have done it as well. But you cannot shut up a parent. If they say, here's your, the film crew comes out to talk to them, and they realize that the world is going to see this. This is their shot to try to help get their kid back. If their kid is genuinely missing, you hear stuff like, she's 13 years old. She's really into this. If by some chance, and they're trying to get as much as they can get in a minute or 2 minutes or whatever they got. They do an interview, and the interview's bizarre. Absolutely bizarre. Both of them act wrong. The mother stares straight up in the sky, and you hear an automatic feeder. People speculate that it's this or that it's that, or that if they had a parrot or whatever. It's an automatic feeder. One of those devices that you have for like a cat, and it goes off so that instead of just feeding the thing, they hear a sound and they come running. It's like Pavlov's cat. And as it's making this sound, and it's a Disney kind of a thing, she's just smiling her ass off. She went from being the terrified mother with the missing child to, that thing is so, cracks me up every time that thing goes off. It's creepy. It's wrong. But this from the very start of this. As we peel this thing apart, you're going to see a guy, and I'm telling you right now, there's no spoiler alert. The guy is guilty of this. The guy's guilty of this. He hasn't had a trial yet, but he used this thing. And you're going to hear stuff in this that I promise you is going to be very difficult to listen to. But I'm not going to do it to be gratuitous. I promise you. I'm going to do it because in order for this story to be told properly, there are some things that we're going to be able to have to handle kind of as adults. For instance, this guy's got a mark on his genitals, apparently. In fact, it's actually not hard to find it. And I don't know whether or not that's because they hate this guy, but the interrogation where they strip him down and I hate to say this, man, but this is one of those cases where this dude gets so disrespected by everybody in the room, but they don't put hands on him. Like, we were talking about that other case where these guys beat a man who was handcuffed behind his back. The Brooks incident out of New York where they killed him. It's a very different situation. I've said, cops can make you miserable. They go in there and they strip this guy out. He's buck naked. And they got two women in there literally like having to manipulate this guy's genitals for him because his hands are cuffed behind his back. And right before it starts, one of the women says, "Do anything weird and you're going to eat the carpet." And the look on his face of discomfort. If it were anyone else, you watch this, you'd go, "I can't watch." Honestly, you would feel so bad for this person because it's just dehumanizing and degrading. But when I tell you what this guy's done, this is one of the worst things you're ever going to have to sit through. These are the cases that make you want to look away really, really quickly. They found a lot of images on this phone going back 5 years of the boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, essaying this girl. It went on for 5 years. And as the police begin to start interrogating these guys, they hear some really weird crap. They hear the night before this girl went missing, mom needed to get some extra sleep. Because mom, right, Jennifer Soto, mom's got a new job. And she's been on disability forever. Apparently she has not been doing, she can't work, she's on disability. There's nothing wrong with that. Happens to everybody in America. Happens, right, all the time. And we have a system in place to help people like that. But apparently she was coming off of it and she was going to work and she was training and she needed a little extra sleep that night. So she needed to change the sleeping arrangements in the house, which normally go like this. The home is owned by Jennifer Soto's parents. She rents from them. So she's paying rent to her parents. Her boyfriend lives there a lot of the time. Not all the time. He splits that between there and his parents' house, Southern Florida. His dad used to be a cop. Awkward. That's going to get even more awkward later. But he splits his time between there. She also rents out to 2 other renters in the house. Yet, there's a 4th bedroom that has nobody in it. She's got an empty, it's got a mattress in there and a little bit of side table or whatever, a little bitty side table. But nobody lives in it. It's bedroom 4. You may say, that, why did you choose to call it bedroom 4? Well, they did. See, they put numbers on the doors. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, 2 renters, Jennifer, right, whose parents own the house, and Maddie. And there are 4 bedrooms, right? Every once in a while, you know, he splits his time. So half the time he's there as well. But you assume he's sleeping with Jennifer. But she doesn't have her own bedroom. Maddie has a bedroom that's set up in the living room. And it's just got some of those like Japanese folding kind of partitions, you know, kind of a thing. They're not the Japanese ones, but those kind of folding things, you know, where you can, but these are kind of like slats. You can see through them. This girl doesn't have any privacy. They built her a little small room in the middle of the living room, which is bizarre, right? I mean, is that weird? It's weird to me that a girl who's just becoming a teenager wouldn't want her own digs. Like, that's weird to me. But anyway, they've got this built little room down there. And the reason they say is, well, she doesn't like spiders at all. Not sure why the friggin' living room doesn't have spiders and why bedroom 4 must be infested with them, right? Or whatever the case may be. But she also is really freaked out sleeping alone. So she normally sleeps in the same bed as her mother. And her mother and her boyfriend when he's there. Now, if this is something that you've done at some point in your past, please don't tell me because I don't want to know. I really don't. This is a foul behavior to allow a grown man to sleep in a pair of boxes in bed with a girl who's 12 or 13, although apparently it started closer to when she was 9. This behavior's messed up. I think everybody can agree with that. Give me a deuce in the chat if you think this is wrong. I'm sorry. In the best of circumstances, it's wrong. This isn't the best of circumstances. By the way, if for whatever reason you had to do this and you went mom in the middle, boyfriend on the right, daughter on the left, right? Maybe if she was on the other side of her mother and never was in any contact with the boyfriend, you could go, I guess. Maybe she's really terrified of being alone and mom sort of spoons her and the other guy sleeps with his back to mom, whatever. Maybe not appropriate. But if it was a Band-Aid situation you had to do, but that's not what they did. No, this boyfriend, Stephen Stearns, he sleeps in the middle of the bed. The daughter's on one side, mom's on the other. And very often, by their own testimony, he's got his arms out like this, and he's got one of them sort of cuddling on each side. This is unbelievably inappropriate. And what makes it even more weird is, as the police are talking to her and doing their interrogations, she's saying really bizarre crap. Like, I have rules concerning sleepovers. There can't ever be sleepovers. Don't allow them. Now, to me, a sleepover was when Spanx Calhoun said, my friend Jason's mom and dad are going to do this cool thing that they got an extra ticket for, and they're going to take me, and I'm going to sleep at the guy's house, and is that cool? And we've all done this. If you're a parent, right, you're like, yeah, get his parents on the phone. Let me hear where they're going, and that, you know, he doesn't say, yeah, we're taking we're taking out the love sled and bringing, no, I think I'll just keep my kid at home. You know, you do a little research or whatever. That's a sleepover. Not in the Soto household. A sleepover is when you allow your 12-year-old daughter or your 11-year-old daughter and she wasn't 13 for more than a couple of days, unfortunately. But her 10, 11, and 12-year-old daughter, a sleepover is when she allows her boyfriend and the daughter to sleep in a room together. And the last night that we all know for a fact that Madeleine Soto, recently 13-year-old Madeleine Soto, was alive, is a night that her mom said, I need to get some sleep. I don't need, she tells the cops, her daughter thrashes all over the place. She's one of those kids that she's a wild sleeper. She's always slapping you with her hands and kicking you, and she can tear the sheets off of the bed. And so she needed a little sleep. So she sent her boyfriend and her 13-year-old daughter to go hang out in a room alone. Now, you can say to yourself, this is just the most deluded and ignorant woman on planet Earth, right? This is just stupidity. And sadly, there are people on this planet who are far too trusting. There are people on this planet that don't see the evil that there is on planet Earth, but that's not her. Because it didn't go down like that. She keeps talking about how she knows this evil's out there. So she's got all these friggin' rules in place to protect her daughter from this particular brand of evil. In fact, she says, I was always a little bit tripped out that it could end up turning into like a Woody Allen kind of a situation. And I was telling my fiance about this, and she said, why, what's up with Woody Allen? And not, she was raised in the cult of Scientology. So very often these were stories that they never would have heard. And I explained to her that Woody Allen, the producer, who was once married to Mia Farrow, adopted all of Mia Farrow's children except one named Soon Yi, I believe was her name. And they ended up, he and his not stepdaughter, but the woman that he was raising as a stepdaughter, got married, the two of them. And most people have uniformly condemned this as just being disgusting and foul. Yeah, it might be legal, but it's just kind of gross. And I've only heard one star in my life ever defend him. Honestly, because nobody does this. You don't defend Woody Allen for marrying his not stepdaughter. The only actress I've ever heard defend him, take a guess, you'll love this. Honestly, do you know the only actress that I've ever heard anywhere, in public, like there's a quote of it out there? You can research this. If you find someone else, let me know. But, Blake Lively. Can't make this stuff up. Look it up. She actually came to his defense. But if the mother had said this, and she said it to the cops, she said, I was always worried about, you were always worried about this. Then there goes the naivete thing out the window. She's not naive. She knows how ugly the world is. And in fact, she's worried about this becoming one of those. But do you have any idea how effed up that statement is? And what amazes me is the cops, and maybe they have a different, I'm not a cop, man. I don't understand how they do this crap. Maybe they got a different plan, but I would have gone boom and exploded when she said that. You're afraid of your just turned 13-year-old daughter to turn into a relationship that can end up in marriage with your now boyfriend? And throughout this entire thing, folks, as this unwinds and we lay out all of this, consider this an opening statement. Consider this an opening statement. And as we roll out the case against not him, because I'm going to tell you what they found on his phone. I'll give you, he is done. We know what he is. The mother is the issue. In this case, the mother is the issue because right now, she's not locked up. Right now, she's not locked up. But some of the foulness that surrounds this is going to be hard for us to wrap our brains around. A lot of us here are parents. I want you to digest this one real quickly. The time comes in the investigation when they seize his phone, and they've heard stories about his phone at every single interrogation. And at these interrogations, the story goes something like this. He says, you ever get those updates on your phone, right? Like if you have Apple, you got the iOS 18 update or whatever's coming down the pike. Well, he had an Android, but he had an update coming. So he grabbed his phone and he starts doing the update. And damn it, hitting the wrong button while doing the update, he clears his entire phone history. Gone. You can see how that can happen, don't you? Have you ever cleared a phone, done a factory reset on a phone? Because if you ever have, and you have to do it when you're turning your old phone in, if you're trading it in or whatever, it's almost hysterically funny that he claimed this. Because when you do it, they go, hey, this is a complete factory reset. You're going to lose every bit of your knowledge. I mean, every bit of your information. You know this, right? This is going to clear everything. You sure you want to do this? And you go, yeah, I want to do it. And you hit the button and it goes, are you sure? Because I'm telling you right now, you're going to lose every single bit of your information. There's no coming back from this. Are you sure? This isn't something that you butt dial and you completely factory reset your phone. The lie is silly, and the cops aren't going to buy it. They've been doing this crap a long time. They probably heard that story from some other jackwagon at some point. But he does this in front of his girlfriend. Like he went, oh, babe, you're not going to believe this. What? I was trying to do that new update on my phone. You know, they're doing that new update. I was trying to do that new update on my phone, and I accidentally factory reset my phone. Here's what the part that you're going to listen to as we lay out this case. You're going to hear that when Jennifer Soto is being interrogated, right? First of all, she hums like a vibrator. Her legs are going up and down like this. I mean, she's literally shaking. Now, I bump my leg all the time. There are people that do it. It's just part of some people's affectation. What she's doing is different, and she does it a little differently depending on the situation. As the heat gets turned up, this woman sounds like a complete wreck until she gets to the parts of the story that have been created. Once she starts to get to the parts of the story where it seems like they're well rehearsed, like the parts that the both of them always say together, she rolls through it like it's a script. She's ready to go. But if they deviate or they start asking her questions that she's uncomfortable with, it's wild to watch. Now, this case isn't new. This case is old at this point, right? But Stephen Stearns has not gone to court yet. And the way that everything is out in front of the world, and this is making old Stephen Stearns' legal team panic. They just filed a motion that said, this is going to taint the entire case. There's too much information out here among you friggin' YouTubers and you people on TikTok. They're going to ruin the case, right? What they really mean is there are TikTokers out there that have chased this stuff down so viciously. And there are sleuths all over the internet that people have found stuff that are working their way into the case. Like one guy figured out that while she's sitting there, right? This is about a week into this. And they have taken this phone that he has factory reset, not once, but twice. What he didn't realize is this. If you upload everything to the cloud, right? One of the reasons you have the cloud is if someone were to boost your phone, sell it, get rid of it, do whatever, you get another phone, you can download everything you had on the cloud back to your new phone. Or if you accidentally, after going through 4 warnings, you accidentally twice clear everything off of your phone, it's kind enough to dump all of those images and all of those videos and everything that you had on your phone. Now, they took his phone for the first day, right? They took his phone and they're going through it. And then they bring in the pros. They bring in the forensics guys. And what they found on this phone was years, 5 of them, 5 years of this man essaying his girlfriend's baby girl. He unalived her by strangling her, right? Not yet convicted, but with what's on this phone, there's no doubt what happened. It's pretty cut and dry. He ended up choking her out. And he really did drive toward the school, by the way, that morning. You see, on day 1, the first day, not the day one of the day that the child goes missing, but by the following morning, they know who did it. They know who did it. They're following him. They let him go. He does a bunch of janky stuff. He drives down to his dad's house in the middle of the night. He's staying in a hotel because they're searching his house. They're searching his house. So he goes and stays with his dad at a hotel, right? And they're all wringing their hands. You know, the poor child is missing, right? They're freaked out. He disappears out the room in the middle of the night, drives all the way down to his dad's. His dad's with him. If he was going to drive all the way down there, why get a damn hotel room? He needed to go down there and get a hard drive and hide it. Yanked the hard drive out of a computer and went and hid it into a storage lot, which didn't work, right? They had that. 35,000 images. 35,000 images of exactly what you think. Now, these weren't all her, not the daughter. This was his collection that he either buys or he trades. He had an account on a site called Telegram, and many of you may use it. But what makes Telegram popular is its encryption. You can't tell what people are sending to each other. And for that reason, like happens with any of the sharing platforms that are heavily encrypted, the freaks get a hold of it. But what makes this the most disgusting story ever is mom. When they come in and they say to her, she's sitting in an interrogation, and they say to her, Jennifer, we found stuff on Stefan's phone. Stuff with him and your daughter. She finds out what's on this phone. And to give you an idea, there's a film on there, a short one, where Stefan Stearns, you can't see him. You can only see his junk. And he's telling his stepdaughter that he's going to count to 3 while she puts this in her mouth. And if not, she's going to lose her phone. The mother is shown images of her daughter with this man performing a sex act on this man, oral. The mother is shown this. Within 2 minutes of being shown this, she's texting the father of her boyfriend. And the text says, Stefan's in serious trouble. He needs to lawyer up now. You need to get him a lawyer. Now, we got a lot of parents in the audience here, man. There's a lot of us that have kids. And those of us that don't have nieces and nephews, can you imagine being shown for the first time, believing the story that this woman is blindsided? She has no idea this is going on. She sees an image of her daughter being SA'd by her boyfriend, somebody that she let into the house, somebody that she brought in there. And her first response is to protect this prick. They give her a few minutes to think about it. They get her some water. And she says to them, but what if it's not him? Now, he has a very distinctive mark on his genitalia. It's him. But that's not what she means. She says, what if he did this stuff? What if he did this stuff? You know, the sex stuff. But what if he didn't do anything evil to her? I'm not paraphrasing, by the way. That was a quote. Yeah, he did the sex stuff. But what if he didn't do anything evil to her? That's not a sentence a mother could put together after seeing her daughter in the situation that they showed her the photo of. No mother sends a text message saying, please protect the R-word man that is doing this to my daughter, the guy that I brought into the home. 5 years. And she says to the cop, how long? In other words, how far back does this go? And I believe at the time the cop told her 3 years. They didn't realize how much farther it was going to go back. This isn't the behavior of a normal person. Now, you can start saying Stockholm Syndrome. You can start saying all kinds of stuff. But I'm going to show you some video, right? I'm going to show you a lot of video of these people being interrogated. And by these people, I mean Stephen Stearns and the mother of the dead child, Jennifer Soto. And at one point, the cops come to the door, right? This is early on, and this is footage that didn't show up until just recently. But it was one of the first contacts. And the cop comes to the door and he's asking, so how long has she been missing? This is their first showing up. And normally the cop's first thought is, you know what? She's 13. Maybe she smoked a joint. Maybe she's hanging out with some friends. I mean, kids start partying at 13. Girls start disappearing with boys at 13. Sadly, this is reality. And the cops see this crap so often. Yeah, it's mom's freaking out. It's the first time, but they see this all the time. So one of the questions they ask is, she's not the kind of girl that would run away, is it? One of the things that every expert about these kind of interrogations and things will tell you is that if the person's faking it, they're going to have a narrative that they will not get off of. You can't say to them, well, maybe it was this, because they have to sell the bullshit. It's all they've practiced. They don't know anything else. This is the story. They concocted it. They came up with it, right? So if you give them another option, they keep trying to pull you back to well, I think she's been kidnapped kind of a thing. By the way, the behavior panel tear these people apart. Tear them apart. Watch the interrogations. I don't understand how this woman hasn't been charged. It does not take a degree in anything. Just being a human being when you watch this woman. But when you find out stuff like 2 minutes after you saw your boyfriend's appendage in your daughter's mouth, knowing this in her head, she acts as if this is consensual. And I'm going to show you an interview where this goes on and she's holding on through all of these interviews with everything until a guy brings up something and says, well, the whole time that you've had this relationship with him, it's like he's had a relationship with your daughter the same way. And at that point, she explodes. At that point, it's like the floodgates open up, the tears start coming, and these ain't crocs. This isn't crocodile tears. The first time this woman seems put out in any way, it's because of jealousy. And there's been some people that point this out. I will give them credit as we go through, I promise. Because there's the work that's been done on this case already is incredible. My problem is with the case so far is it takes, with all due respect, a blithering idiot to not understand that this mother is involved. Now, I know people are going to go, it's non sequitur. How is this possible? But there's some really interesting shit that we're going to come across. And one of it is going to be this. This guy's a bum, right? This guy's not made a living at any point in his life. He's a bum. Now, they're going to tell you he's got a traumatic brain injury. They're going to tell you all kinds of stuff. But what it comes down to is the dude's a bum. But he's a bum that collects really weird stuff. And the stuff that he collects, and weird, I mean, weird to me. I collect stuff, everybody collects stuff, and whatever you collect isn't weird to you. It's beautiful and it's precious. But this dude would collect Yamaguchis, I think they're called, these little pets, digital pets that you could train. You know what I'm talking about? Put a deuce in the chat if you know what I'm talking about so I don't feel like an idiot. These things were like, they pop out of an egg a lot of times, and you gotta, if you don't feed it, the thing dies. And if it dies, you have to go through this process of like reanimating it and bringing it back to life. Okay, so a few of you know what's up. Alicia, I sent you an email, by the way. So a few of you, so a lot of you know what's up. He was collecting some of these still in the packages that apparently are worth hundreds of dollars, right? There are some of these out there that are worth a bunch of cash. Thing is, he's got tons and tons and tons of them. And every time he leaves the house, he seems to be going out and buying more. He tells the cops, right? That morning, where were you going? Well, I was going to see which new cards and new games were coming out. He's a collector. He spends money like a drunk. The day that the daughter went missing, mom went to a doctor's appointment, and she canceled the doctor's appointment that day as well for Botox. I don't know if there's anybody in the audience here that's ever had Botox. I have not. And I should have, and I will before we do the next show. I will look up to find out how much Botox treatments go for. But unemployed people on disability, I'm thinking probably aren't doing Botox. Maybe I'm wrong, right? Maybe I'm wrong. Now, this wasn't for headache, by the way. For anybody who's about to go, well, a lot of that's covered by insurance if it's for, no. This was for vanity purposes. And I find it odd Even Stephen Stern's parents said he's always got cash. The night she went missing, the night before. So she slept in a bedroom alone with Stephen Stearns her last night on planet Earth. That next morning, he takes her to school. We see her on security video in the car, slumped over like this, dead. Dead. Yeah, he got a flat tire. She was in the car when he did. This is the theory, and it holds a lot of water. And they went to the people and told them everything that happened. They showed images of the cars going back and forth, and what happens? What always happens. An alert human being said, "Oh, I saw that car." And I'll tell you what else is weird. As I was driving by that car on the side of the road, the dude that was changing the tire looked me dead ass square in the eyes. You ever have one of those things happen? Like, you ever just for some random, someone's going by and you're like, yeah, I wicked made eye contact with that guy. That was weird. He said it was one of those weird situations where you really make eye contact with somebody. And that somebody is Stephen Stearns. And then right next to a gate, which happened to be open that morning, the farmer's torn up about it. The guy that owns the property feels like somehow it's his fault. The girl was dead when they got there. He didn't kill her in the car. She'd been dead a long time. But he took her out of the car and he walked her out into a bamboo thicket and he just dumped her. He was dumb as a brick because everything he was doing was on video. I'm telling you, people, you can't commit a crime in 2024 or 2025. You can't do it. Everywhere he went was on film. They saw her in the car. You could have said she was sleeping. You could have. But she never got out of the car. They said they were so happy to tell you, right? Hey, we dropped her off by this church, and the security footage from the church showed her there. You'll see it in the interviews. It's like a triumph. They're really happy that it didn't help the case. If it was really her, all she did was walk by. But if you're lying and you didn't drop the kid off, how happy are you when they say, yeah, we got her on film? They had to have been sitting in a room going, holy shit, what? Yeah, great. It was too grainy for the authorities to say with any kind of certainty who it was. Couldn't even really tell what they had on. This was a church that she had allegedly been dropped off at. She was never dropped off anywhere. Cops knew it. The cops knew it. And they were hoping to find the body. They knew that he had killed her. This guy was a dump truck in everything that he did. But where does this guy's money come from? The night she died, that night in the room, he allegedly went live on Telegram. He also uploaded a bunch of stuff on Telegram. That scare you? There's a lot of money these sick F's spend on this stuff. The room in the living room, when you see it, when we do the opening salvo of the prosecution we're going to do against this mother, because we're all going to stipulate to the fact that this man is guilty. He's got tons and tons and tons of videos of him abusing this girl. Why did she have a little bedroom in the living room? Why didn't she have one upstairs? Maybe that's where they filmed. Maybe that's where they created the images that he was selling. A lot of weird things are happening in this case. As of right now, there's no proof that this guy was creating this stuff. Although, there are people that seem really kind of a little too close to be coincidence. Like the music teacher of Madeleine Soto has been arrested for possession of you know what. Seems odd. Seems like, because they will start looking. Now, maybe this guy just happened to be a freak. There's a lot of them. We're not sure if there's a tie-in. We're sure this guy bought lightsabers, limited edition lightsabers. He bought all of these little games. He bought all of these little toys non-stop. This dude had cash. No way to get it. Where's it coming from? I think that both of them were in on this. I'm going to show you some text messages back and forth. Text messages that when you read, you will go, how are they not going to arrest this chick? Just based on the fact that, you got to investigate her deep. If you know that showing her the images of her daughter being abused, here's your proof. By the way, the cops said to her, and I don't know about you. I really don't. I'm not judging her for this. If it were real, I'm not judging anybody for this. But she said, I'm going to need to see him. I'm going to need to see the images. And the cop said, look, I'm not going to jerk you around. If you really want to see these things, I'm going to show them to you. But I would never lie to you about something like this, and I think you're not going to be able to unsee this. You sure you want to see this? I'm telling you, if that's my daughter, man, if that, and I'm a man, maybe it's different, but if that's my daughter, I go, no, I don't want to see that, right? Both of you guys can absolutely verify that this is my kid. No, I don't want to see that. That's an image I don't want in my head for the rest of my life. Do get me a photo of the person, because I'm going to remove him from planet Earth. Which is what should happen to this guy. He does not want any of this to be televised. He does not want any of this to get out more. He doesn't want us YouTubers talking about this, because it's not going to give him a fair case. And you know what? There are people that will argue this. I get emails from people that say, because of you, dude's not going to get... Are you woofing me? Listen, first of all, Casey Anthony, ever heard of her? Ever heard of O.J. Simpson? Those were two cases that got more friggin' publicity. They were tried in the press more than any two cases ever. And they were found not guilty. Right? All the world had all of the evidence. Did they get screwed over? No, they picked a good jury. In both of those cases, man, they picked a damn good jury. I don't care where you are, you're not going to blow a case. People got to stop talking about that. That's the dumbest crap in the whole world. We're going to taint a jury pool. What you're saying is every person that they're going to mail out to will have been following this case. What do you think the odds are? Honestly, the 405 people watching me, right? This would be a video that gets 5,000 views or something like that. If there were 500 of us getting 5,000 views, I got people that are coming here from London, right? From Australia. People, you know how many people don't surf the net? For real, they're going to put a lot of people who are older on a lot of these juries because they don't surf the web. They're not that interested. I was talking to a guy. I'm looking at the tour buses. And the guy said, oh, yeah, what kind of content do you do? Because I'm explaining to him I'm going to be, going and taking these things to some trials. And he's like, yeah, you know what kind of cases? Serial killers and stuff? I was like, Sean Combs. This was yesterday, by the way. I was with Spanx Calhoun. And I was like, Sean Combs, did he? He went, don't know the case. I went, okay. Well, there you go, juror number one. Get this dude a seat. There's a lot more of those people than you think. It's just not bothered by any of this crap. They don't pay a fart bit of attention to Hollywood and probably haven't in 20 or 30 years. What Stephen Stearns doesn't want, it has nothing to do with him not thinking he's going to get a fair trial. He's embarrassed. The details that are going to come out of this are horrific. I think what he's most afraid of is that the people he's going to spend the rest of his life with haven't been arrested yet. Do you understand what I mean by that? This dude's never getting out of prison. So there are going to be people who 8 years from now are going to get arrested and end up on the same yard as this dude who will have watched his entire case. Like when they walk in, they're going to go, holy hell, that's Stephen Stearns. This dude's going to have a real tough life for the rest of it, I promise. The only exception to that is he very well may get the death penalty. And if he does, I don't know how the Florida death row is. Most death penalty people are pretty well protected. But they get a different kind of hell. What happens is they're in solitary confinement for the rest of their life, and that's kind of a tough way to live. You get sick of it pretty quick. You really do get sick of it. But there are text messages that are going to make you go, huh? Little common sense. How many times do I say that on the boat? Does it start getting old? Getting tired of living in a world where there's no friggin' common sense. They have a text message between Jennifer Soto and Stephen Stern, her boyfriend, that said, Maddie can't sleep in the bed with us tonight, or in the bed with me anymore. That's what she said. Maddie can't sleep in the bed with me anymore. I can't risk it. Can't risk it. The hell does that mean? If you're a cop and you read that, what does that mean to you? And if you're a cop and you find out that when she saw CP, right, when she saw the worst thing you could ever see on planet Earth, the only thing that could make that worse is that it's her child and her boyfriend. She brought this dude into the house, and your first friggin' thought is to protect him. Then you're in on it. Then you're in on it. Don't give me that Stockholm Syndrome BS. Don't give me any of that crap. She's in on it. That first contact I told you about. They show up and they say, any chance that she ran away? And they jump on it, man. They jump on it. Yeah. No, she could have run away. I can show you a thing she wrote in, there's a thing on her phone that says she wants to go away and live in the woods when she turns 13. That could be it right there. And you could see the cop going through the phone, right? And he goes, where in here does it say something? Because the mother is sitting there going, yeah, right. No, it says right here in the text messages, talking about running away. No, she didn't. It's not there. The cop's going, I'm sorry, where is this? Where does it say this? If mom's trying to bullshit the cop on day one, nothing this woman does says my daughter's missing. Nothing. If you're mom, you know the town you live in. You know where your daughter hangs out, right? More than likely, or your son. You know the people that they're friends with, right? You know the neighborhood. She's been at this house a long time. So when the girl goes missing, you're going to do what? You're going to go to all of her best friends' houses. You're going to go to the rec center where she hangs out, or you're going to go to the pool hall, or you're going to go to the swim team, whatever, wherever the hell this girl goes. They went a different route. They said, we're going to let the police and the volunteers look for her, and we're going to stay here in case she phones. Put a 2 in the chat if they could do anything to keep you from going to look for your kid. They would need a pistola if they wanted to keep me from going to look for my missing kid. What do you mean you stayed home? That's not normal behavior. I'm sorry, it's not. Both of them? You both need to not go look for your kid? And when the cops come the next day, the cop says, so where have you guys looked already? Well, we got people out there. There are teams of people that are going and looking everywhere. No, but where did you look? Well, we stayed here, in case she tried to call her. You got a effing cell phone. Why do you mean in case she comes home? So both of you need to stay there. And Stephen Stearns kind of changed it. He says, no, I went out and looked. Mom never did. But Stephen did go out and look. But he was really tired when everybody else was doing it. He was exhausted. As he said to the cops, I've been taking a crap load of Xanax. Right? Because he's so stressed. This is his favorite person on earth. And he said, I'm her favorite person. Listening to this sick, delusional SOB will make you want to kill him. It really will. You will see a journal of sorts that she would write in, or she would draw in. And she drew some really, really sexually explicit stuff that you might not expect a 13-year-old to draw. And when you realize that this is what she's drawing. I'm a guy, and I have a son and I have a daughter. And the relationship that I have with my daughter is unique, right? It's very different than the relationship that I have with my son. But because because I am not her mom, there are things I don't know. And here's one of them. Jennifer Soto, please help me out, ladies. Jennifer Soto had an app on her phone to help track her daughter's menstrual cycle, so that by looking at her phone, she would know exactly when her daughter was going to be going on her period. Is that normal? And I'm not being an ass. If it is, if it's super normal and every mom does this, then it's. But it seemed odd to me. That seemed to me to be odd, but on top of that, she had missed the period. Now, you could say, maybe Stephen Stearns realizes that this girl is pregnant. And I say girl, by the way. She's a baby. Maybe he realizes this baby is pregnant. And he says to himself, this is a theory, but I can't. What are we going to do? Go out, get her an abortion? Whatever we do, I'm going to get outed. They're going to find out about me, right? So I'm going to make this girl disappear. That is a theory. Or maybe he says to her, listen, I got this set up. We can get this taken care of. You're just going to have to say it was a boyfriend of yours or whatever. And maybe she says, no, you know what? I think I'd like to keep it. Sadly, we're not going to know. We're not going to know the truth. We may find out. I don't know what, they've not said whether or not she was pregnant. I mean, the autopsy is going to let them know. But they have not released that. But I think you're going to make the decisions. I'm not going to ask you to agree with me. I promise I'm not. But I'm going to lay this out. And I think that, by the way, do not jump on me. A 13-year-old cannot have a relationship of any kind with a grown man. It's not possible. It's called SA in every one of its forms. In Jennifer Soto's head, he has a relationship with the daughter. You're going to see her say things that are just going to stink wrong from the word go. Like if I said in the situation, right? If I said your boyfriend and your daughter, or a car drove all the way down from Stockbridge to Boston, right? The car drove all the way that distance and your daughter was in it. You would say, why did that son of a bitch take my kid to Boston? You wouldn't say, what would she be doing in the car with him going to Boston? It's a very different tone, isn't it? One says they're in a relationship, but she knows better than to go to Boston. Why would she be going to Boston with him? One makes it sound as if they're in a relationship. The other makes it sound like it should, like it's almost kidnapping. Like what the hell's going on? But her reactions to all of this make it sound like the real hurt in this is that her daughter could do this to her. That her daughter could let this turn into a relationship. Like maybe this was a business thing. Because you're also going to see some correspondence back and forth since, what's his name got locked up, Stephen Stern. He talks to his father, he used to be a cop. And they say stuff like, Stephen Stern says, I just want you to know I didn't start this. Now, your head can go to the normal place that these kind of sickos who believe that a 9 or a 10-year-old can come on to you. But that's not, I don't think that this guy would say that to his dad who's a cop. No one's going to be that tone deaf and that stupid. I'm sorry, nobody. He may believe that in his head, but I don't think he's going to say that out loud to his dad. I think they're talking about this being more than him just essaying this girl. I think this was getting filmed and I think it was getting disseminated. I think that he was either selling this stuff or trading this stuff for other stuff he could sell or whatever. But mom and dad are freaked out by the amount of money that this guy's got. He's not dealing. The guy's not slinging. He doesn't seem to be selling any of this memorabilia stuff that he's got. He just seems to be buying. Right? Just continually acquiring. Tough Gemini says drug addicts don't care about anyone. They certainly will reach a point where they'll do just about anything to get substances, to be sure. But what they probably won't do is things like chemicals don't turn somebody from a normal person into a PDF file. If those people are freaks, that's bad wiring. It's not going to be a chemical that brings it on. They may try to blame it on that, but trust and believe that's not what it is. But this sick piece of crap managed to fund a lifestyle without having any income coming in. And not just, look, I mean, if all you do is drive around, eat some pizza, go on, 2 or 3 weekend vacations a year, you can't do that stuff broke. But to be online all day, every day, buying all of this memorabilia crap, building the ultimate collection of stuff, where's it coming from? We do know he stole a vintage Rolex that his mother's dad, so his grandfather, left to his mom. Now, I know a crap load about watches. I don't know what vintage watch he left mom, but he probably got $4,000 in that ballpark. And the reason is not because, just sight unseen, if a dirtbag walks into the kind of place that he sold that at, there's no way they're going to give him squat because he stinks of a dirtbag. I'm sorry, it's just the way it is. Those shops make a living giving you 10%. I really doubt that he took the time to find out what it was worth and sell it. Those people that steal and get things sell it for pennies on the dollar. It's sad. But that didn't fund all this. It was a long time ago. We're going to paint a picture of what happened, and it's going to be super obvious. There isn't a doubt. This is not a whodunit. There's no doubt whatsoever that Stefan Stearns killed this woman, this girl, this young girl. There's no doubt. He drove around with her in the car. We could see him on video take her backpack with her computer and everything in it and throw it in a dumpster. Everything he did, he left a breadcrumb trail you wouldn't believe. They had him day one. But once those images came up, he has enough of that crap on his phone that he could spend the rest of his life in prison for it if they didn't get him for the other. They're going to get him for the other. The problem becomes that this girl's mom is free. And I promise you that over the course of the next 4 or 5 shows that I'm going to do on this, you're going to be as pissed off as I am. Especially if you're a mother or you're a father. You can't be this blind. She sat on the chair and she just said, I can't believe I didn't see this. You know what? Me either. I can't believe you didn't see it either. If you hadn't seen it, your first response to seeing it would have been, where is he? I want him dead. That would have been your response. I want him electrocuted. What is the worst penalty he can get for what he just did to my daughter? Thing is, that wasn't the first time she had seen it. There's no way, not in my humble opinion. There wasn't the shock there. I think, and a lot of other people have weighed in on this too. Why would a parent say, I want to see that? I think she was trying to get the people that were talking to her about this, I think she wanted them out of the room to go get that stuff so that she could text Stefan's dad. This is an evil, evil woman, right? She and Blake Lively should live together. This person has zero care or regard for her daughter. And I'm going to show you throughout interviews where anytime anything else comes up in conversation, you can watch the tension melt out of this woman's body. If your child is missing and they change the subject, you'll want to kill them for bringing something up as trivial as what you're training for at work, right? Who cares? Where's my kid? What are you doing? Like, what are you doing right now? Why are you talking to me? Why are you not finding my... No, that wasn't it. That wasn't it at all. If she had the opportunity to talk about anything else, and you know what? She giggles. She jokes, she laughs, like you would anybody else talking about anything. This woman has to go to prison. Has to go to prison. This, something was happening. And unfortunately, I love freedom of speech. I love all of that stuff. It's great that there are platforms that are encrypted or whatever, but there has to be some way to check on that. I mean, there has to be, and if not, we have to fix it. And I know people are going to be pissed at me for saying that. But what did he do that night? What did he upload that night? What was he doing on Telegram the night she took her last breath? Did he film it? I mean, how does your head not go there? That film word that starts with an S, I mean, was that what he was doing? It seems like this isn't Nostradamus. I'm not taking these biblical leaps of intuition. If we know he was on Telegram that night and it was her last night on earth, to think, oh God, no. It's pretty logical, am I right? You understand where I'm going with this. Was he uploading images? Did she send him to that room so that he could do these things to her daughter? No mother does these things. This doesn't make any sense. And out of her own mouth, I would never allow sleepovers. My mother instilled in me, you never trust men. Men can't be trusted. How do you say that And then in the same interview say, well, I really needed to get some sleep, so I just told the two of them to go up and go to sleep. And then he cuddles her a little before they go to sleep because she kind of needs that to sleep. There's no way in hell, man. It makes no sense. Never mind being a mom or a woman. As a human being, I cannot wrap my head around allowing a child to be used like that and have no guilty conscience. Well, do you believe, people? Do you believe that she just could have been ignorant to this? Does that pass the smell test? And you know what? I'll give her the benefit of the doubt any way I can because it's the right thing to do. But this just, everybody reacts to trauma differently. Yeah, I guess. But I'll tell you a 45-second story. I was in a grocery store in Houston, Texas called Kroger. And I used to, walking up and down the aisles, and Spanky was about 6 and maybe 5. And you had to keep him from those little frickin' toy aisle things because if he got anywhere near him, you weren't getting, it was terrible. And he said to me, let me look at these. I said, please, look, if you stick with me, when we're getting ready to leave, I'll run you by that aisle. And he said, all right. And I went down the next one and I turned around and he was gone. And I ran back to that aisle and he wasn't there. And my effing life ended. And if you're a parent, this has probably happened to you. My life ended. It was right here in my throat and I'm running as fast as I can and I can hear my heartbeat in my ears. And I ran up to the front and I said, I'm looking for a little blonde boy. Has he come up here? And she said, no, nobody's come up here. And I ran outside and I'm looking at the doors and I'm like, 40 seconds, right? There couldn't have been more than 40 seconds. I swear to God, I'm getting heart effing palpitations right now talking about it. I'm going to show you videos of this woman and I want you to tell me that she's half as stressed out as I was just telling you that story. Either they're getting ready to build a case or I'm the worst. I got no intuition. I'm dumb as a brick. If this woman's not involved, I'm an idiot. And I'm going to lay it all out. And if you guys say to me, Tommy, no, man, seriously, you're being just too hard on this woman. Nothing that she does is normal in this. It's all disgusting. And I'm going to lay it out for you. But if this thing goes to trial, Stephen Stearns gets his life sentence, life without the possibility of parole, and she continues to walk the street, Mrs. R, I'm not going to yell at you. Mrs. R says, I do believe she was ignorant. She was jealous of her daughter. Stephen had groomed her too. Okay, and I'm not mad at you. If you were, so in her head then, if we're following this through, in her head then, they had a relationship going on. She was bummed out about that. The protecting him after the fact, right? To call up, to text Stephen Stearns' father 2 minutes after seeing these images to write, hey man, you need to help your son right now. He needs to lawyer up right now. That's where I lose it. Because I would like to believe she's ignorant. It's a better world for me. If this isn't an evil mother, it's an easier world for me to go to sleep in. I'm not going to take any joy in this woman being evil. But Miss R, I can't make it come together. And this is where we're at too, right? For 5 years. For 5 years. So I believe that mom had to know this was going on. Had to. The text that she said, and I'm going to show all of you this. I'm going to show it to you, but it's my opening statement. I'm going to show you a text where she said she can't sleep in bed with us. Or no, she said, I can't sleep with Maddie anymore. I just can't risk it. What the hell does that mean from a mother? What does that mean? I don't get it. Elise Ayers says they're going to flip her to seal the deal. I kind of believe that. Tough Gemini says you don't let your underage kids sleep in the same bed as your boyfriend ever. As in ever, right? Ever. Now here's the thing. Make no mistake. What I will agree with Miss R on all the way 100%, he groomed both of them. That I believe. That I wholeheartedly believe. He groomed both of them. It's freaking, and here's the thing. Please don't get me wrong and please don't get angry at me, right? But I'm fascinated. I really am. I'm fascinated by this case because we're either working on the worst travesty of justice. Like we're starting to go down a road that could be really ugly because this dude's a piece of crap. But I just don't think that this was done alone. I don't believe this was done alone. I think that he had a hand in this. I mean, that she had a hand in this. And I think they were filming it. I think they were filming it. I think that this was production of underage material with kids in it. That's what I think. Having had 5 daughters, God bless you, Jackie M. Having had 5 daughters, me, their divorced mother, never allowed sleepovers. Yeah, I had up to 12 girls sleep over at mine, birthday parties, etc. Knew they were all safe and stayed safe. You know something? I respect that. You know, here's the thing. Can honestly, this is hard to argue. Ms. R says, I believe she was self-consumed. She didn't get what she needs in life, so she drugs up every day and ignores that pesky daughter. I think there's something to this, and I don't think she was doing street stuff. I think that we know she was taking Geodon. There are guys that used to grab that in prison. It'll knock you the hell out, right? It's not usually considered anything fun or recreational, but it will knock you the hell out. I still keep coming back to that. I can't sleep. She can't sleep in my bed. I can't risk it. I keep coming back to that, Miss R. I keep coming back to that. And I keep coming back to 2 minutes. 2 minutes after she sees her daughter in that position. And if you were here in the early, her daughter was performing oral sex on this guy. That's what was happening. Now, before any of you say hate stuff, she couldn't have done that. She was forced. I understand. For the purpose of being able to say it without whacking the algorithm out, that's about how I'm going to have to describe it. I realize it's the R word. We all do, right? But if she did, how does she then text? She's protecting this man that she brought in and allowed this to happen. In my head, she's protecting him because she already knew. She already knew. And she's thinking to herself, you know what? If he doesn't get hit for killing her, you know, he'll go away for a little while, he'll get out. I mean, is there some Stockholm syndrome here? Probably. You know, there probably is. I'm sure that both of them were groomed. But I don't believe she was ignorant to what was going on. If she was the shock of seeing the images, I don't think it would have had that effect on her. I think it would have been the Tasmanian devil kind of shit. Like she was trying to break through the wall like, hey, Kool-Aid, to go out there and get the dude. Feel me? Like, I just don't see it. I feel like they're already giving her a pass. Renee B says, do you think the legal system will give her a pass just to prosecute him? They got priors for this. This is the kind of thing that happens. I would like to believe that they're building a case and that we're going to see her arrested. That's what I would like to believe. But I have nothing but respect for people that disagree with me and do it with respect. I'm going to absolutely open this bad boy up so that people can do that throughout, but I am going to build a case for you. Yeah, I mean, there's just so much of it. Now, I'll tell you something else. I'm not a psychiatrist. I'm not a psychologist, right? I'm a recovering drug addict and a dude that went to prison. But I consider myself a bit of a judge of human character, and I have sadly been, and I've talked about it on the boat before, but I've been in some in the wrong place or the right place, depending on how you look at it. But if you've ever seen someone lose a child and find out that they did, that this situation, what that does to a human being, I've talked about the story on the boat before, but I heard a friend of mine make a noise, I promise you that if I live to 1,000, I will never forget. It sounded like a wounded animal. You know, she just, nothing that she does looks normal. And I know it's different for everybody, and I'm not a psychologist. I'm not a psychiatrist. Maybe this woman is really, really deeply, you know, she's got something going on mentally that her reactions wouldn't be normal. Her baseline wouldn't be normal. I don't know what her baseline's like. I've never seen the woman when she's in a normal situation. But damn, everything she does makes her look guilty. Everything she does makes her look guilty. Makes it look as if she had knowledge. It's a great question. Galen says, what do you think of the derivative immunity? And we're going to cover that. One whole show on my argument is going to be that day. Here's the cool thing about derivative immunity. It's kind of BS. I would never, as a criminal, that's a terrible deal. Because the way it works is this. She can go in and tell her story, and nothing that she says can be used against her. But if she were to say, all the evidence, I took all the evidence and I put it in a gym bag and I buried it 25 paces from my mailbox, right, on my lawn. They can't take her letter, go over to the mailbox and pace 25 feet, but they can start talking to everybody that she knows. And if one of those guys go, yeah, you know, I was at her house once where she was walking crap over by the mailbox. Really? What did she do then? Well, she got a shovel. Okay. Well, now your evidence is in. You can still charge her, even though she told you, as long as you found it without her help. If they get to any of the conclusions and they don't have to use her words and what happened to her, they can still go out and investigate. It's not a great deal for her, but she wasn't going to give anything up, in my opinion. She's in this. She's in on this. I want to see her tell the real truth. Yeah, I knew this was going on. To say, and she says in an interview, I'm going to let you listen to it, but when she said, you know, I was always a little worried this was going to become like a Woody Allen situation. Then this isn't a shock. You weren't sleeping. You weren't dozing off. You weren't not paying attention. You were afraid this was going to happen. So you sure as hell were paying attention. And if you were afraid this could turn into a Woody Allen situation, your response was, why don't you guys go catch the spare bedroom? I need a good night's sleep. The two of you can go and cuddle and sleep together. I'm going to stay down here because I'm trying to get a good night's sleep. Doesn't check out. Doesn't check out at all. You also say, you're so paranoid for men because your mom convinced you that no man should ever be trusted, that you had a rule. You had a rule that no one that came into your house, no boyfriends or whatever, could ever sleep in the same room or bed as your daughter. Why would you need that rule? Why would you need that rule? Has anyone ever even thought of having a rule like that? Yeah, my next girlfriend, wait, no. I'm going to make a rule. She cannot get into bed with my son. What the deuce? No one has a rule like that because it's so common sense. I have another rule. I will never burn my kid's hand with a blowtorch. I just have that rule. A hard and fast one. I've been doing it for years, right? I'm sticking with it. I will never burn my kid's hand with a blowtorch. You don't need a rule for that. You also don't need a rule that says, I've always had a rule that my boyfriends couldn't sleep with my daughter. Non sequitur. It does not. It makes no sense. In fact, it's so bizarre that it just makes you look guilty. To say, yeah, I had this rule, but nevertheless, I let him sleep in the same bed with my daughter alone. Pam, on the bright side, if you start from the beginning, this is just an opening statement. We're going to go through this entire case on here because I promise you're not going to believe the case this is going to be. And we have two bites at this apple. And I'm going to be going to both, if at all possible. I'm going to be going to the trial of him for the possession of the, the images he wasn't supposed to have. 35,000 of them, I believe. And then there are 60, he was charged with 60 counts in relation to his girlfriend's daughter and the abuse that he had been perpetrating on her for 5 years. God, that's uncomfortable. For 5 years. He's charged with 8 counts of S battery on a child under 12, 5 counts of S battery on a child with a child between 12 and 18 in familial, custodial, or authority care. 7 counts of lewd and lascivious M-word, and 40 counts of unlawful possession of materials depicting S performance by a child, a teen, or more images. Those are just in relation to Madeleine Soto. The 35 other images are other victims. They have their own Stephen Sterns, right? They have their own Jennifer Sotos. The people that are making that kind of crap happen so that it can be sold and traded. And in my opinion, that's what they were doing. Why would you build a little set bedroom downstairs in the living room? It looks like a set. It's not a bedroom. She doesn't have one. She just has a set bedroom where it's disgusting and it makes no sense. And everybody involved, like everything the cops get told, they keep going, like, I'm sorry, what? Yeah, well, this is, Stephen Stern says, she has a hard time getting to sleep and she needs a little cuddle and snuggle time, and before she can do that. She's not 4, man. This is a 13-year-old girl, and you're not related to her by blood. You're just the guy that is recently showed up. No. Okay, no, what happened is he drove to Northport. He drove to Northport to remove the hard drive, physical hard drive from the computer. He cleared his phone at the house with his girlfriend there. He needed to, in theory, if we believe her story, he did it in front of her because obviously he was trying to create an alibi. Or the two of them concocted the story together. Because it was, the way she tells the story is weird. And you'll hear it in the interview. She says, and that was when, we were just hanging out and he said, he was kind of really angry because he cleared his phone by accident when he was just trying to do the new update or whatever. But no, he drove down there to physically remove the hard drive from a computer, which he then hid in a storage facility. And they found the hard drive in the storage facility, and that is how he has been charged with the 35,000 other images. They were not on his phone. They were on the computer. This was in the state of Florida. And they're going to be back-to-back cases on all this. There are going to be 2 different cases. One is going to cover all of the images and the stuff that he was doing with the daughter of his girlfriend, the young woman that he took off of planet Earth and unceremoniously dumped in a bamboo thicket. This guy, he's going to get, justice is going to come to him. I want you to take a very hard look at this case with me. And you can disagree, you can argue, but I'm going to lay this out and I'm going to do it over the course of a series of videos. And all I want is an open mind because I think you're going to find that, and you can make the decision your own. I'm not a mom, but I'm a dad. And this doesn't look anything to me like, it looks like nothing but a really terrible performance of someone who's trying to look like they're a grieving parent. It's pretty weak. And stress, everything's different. Okay, I'll give that to you. I'll give that to you the first time you're on film. That first night while you're in shock. But as this develops, I would expect to see some form of normalcy. And as of yet, there's been nothing. How can she sleep? Well, this is a good argument. This is a good argument for Miss R, right? Truthfully, Miss R says, this is a woman that's trying to duck out from all of this. And she's taking Jadon to knock herself out to go to sleep. She is checking out from all of that. She really is. And I could make the argument that she just seems to be trying to, hold on one second. This is what they would have to offer her a deal for. If these two were selling this stuff, if they were producing If the violence was not just for his gratification, but if they were making money off it or doing any of that, they would want her testimony to find out who's buying it, to find out how the network worked. She could be very valuable to them if this was not just a simple case of SA and unaliving the daughter. There's a lot of stuff that makes you go, huh? I mean, if you were just, you're gonna go live, or you're gonna upload images or movies or videos to Telegram. Love to know what he uploaded that last night she was on Earth. Doesn't make sense. You'd be panicking, you'd be freaking out. So when did he upload it? Before or after? Or during? Or what happened? By the way, taking down a ring. Through a lot of these images, now obviously I haven't seen them, thank God, but it has been alleged that through a lot of these images, the daughter was unconscious. Now, I assume that these are more of the older ones, because in the newer ones, she had been groomed to the point where the daughter seemed to be participating so willingly. She had been groomed to that point. This guy had been doing this to her for 5 years. This is the life she understood. This is the life she knew. Horrible. Just the nastiest. This guy, I want this guy to get convicted, but I don't want him to get the death penalty. I want him to get life in prison without the possibility of parole, so that he has to walk around with other people, so that he has a cellmate. But we are going to lay this out. Hold on 1 second. Well, thank you. We love you too. I'm sorry to hear that. You know what? Okay. Believe it or not, kind of was hoping somebody would say the F word. Did he? That's a legitimate question, isn't he? Honestly, is this not the first thing that comes to your mind? It's her last night on Earth. If I say that word, they're going to bury this video and demonetize it. But by the way, you want to hear something crazy? You start trying to deep dive this, don't do it with AI. You know, if you start dancing near anything that deals with kids or tea or the kind of stuff that these guys generate, right? The images that they sell, the videos and movies, you can't even research it, because they're so freaked out now that they're clamping down on people that just, if you type in, give me the timeline of what happened with these people, it'll pop up and say, this violate terms of service, because they're not even going to let them talk about a case where someone is being charged with this kind of stuff. Really makes the research a lot slower. This is one of the ugliest things I've spent time deep diving, and I'm not joking. I've watched every single interview that they've done with all of these people, and I have read probably, and by the way, when I say I've watched every interview, I've watched the raw footage, and I've probably watched 10 or 15 really good people comment on each one. And some of their theories are so solid, I'll be giving credit to them as we go along in this, because some people have done some bang up work on this case already. A lot of people, actually. But as very often happens, I feel like we're missing the big picture. And the big picture in this is that this is a lot bigger than this guy just being a weird PDF file who killed a 13-year-old girl. It is way, way bigger than that. That is absolutely the truth. And do you see where it starts looking like the choir teacher was one? Are you saying that there was 2 teachers in addition to the choir teacher? I had not heard that, but that's kind of, this would be an explanation that would satisfy my soul. I don't know about yours. But if the answer to why is Jennifer Soto not under arrest, if the answer is because she's taking down all of these other people, well, then that would be just dandy. You know, you don't want to work with the devil, but if you're going to kill a bunch of demons, you're probably going to have to. And this woman very well may be the devil. But if they can take out people around her, You know, she hasn't been charged with anything, people. But I'm going to show this to you, and you can make up your own mind. My mind's made up. I can't say that she's in on anything. It's not possible. But what I can tell you is there isn't a doubt in my mind that her actions do not make any sense. At all. At all. They don't match up with what I would have done. They don't match up with what you would have done. They've matched up to no one I've spoken to about this. And by the way, I have talked to several psychologists and psychiatrists on this who have had the same, that just said this doesn't make sense. The behavior panel people said this doesn't make sense. This is what social media was built for. I'm sorry it is. Because if we don't call for justice in this one, if we all don't get really pissed off, this is going to be one of those that goes away. You take your eyes off these, weird deals happen. I bring up Jeffrey Epstein. Jeffrey Epstein, for what he did to those girls in Miami when he had that little, like you could almost call it a prostitution ring. Now don't get angry at me. They're obviously all victims. But he had a little ring and there was money being charged and these girls were, by all accounts, these girls were running out happy with cash because he got that perfect age where they felt like they were getting over on this old man and it's just a creepy old guy or whatever. He got weekends. Do you know what that means? He only had to go to jail for Saturday and Sunday, just weekends. He would get there Friday night, 1 minute to midnight. They'd give him credit for all of Friday. Then he would do all day Saturday, and it's Saturday at 11:59. It would be Sunday morning, and he'd get credit for Sunday. So that 3 days he had to do in jail, he wouldn't even do a full 25 hours. They allowed this for someone who got caught being a chomo. Someone that got caught systematically assaulting girls under the age of legal driver's license, learner's permit age girls. You take your eyes off of this stuff and these asses get sweetheart deals and they make things go away. I want to know what's going on in this. I want to know what's going on with Jennifer Soto because there's something here that's a lot bigger. Doesn't make any sense. It's not how somebody acts. But I wanted to come on. I'll tell you the truth. Because of how many different things that we talk about, I wanted to make sure that we were going to come on and bring this up and people were going to be game to listen to it. Because this one, I've spent more time deep diving this than anything I've done other than Diddy. And I can make this case. So stick around. I'll be doing them, right? 1, 2, this was my opening statement. We will start showing evidence in the next one. Tonight, folks, come by. We're going to be doing the Night Yard program. It's where we answer questions, all things prison and convict related. We usually have 2 federal inmates and a state inmate as well that who's done time in California. So basically can answer anything you ever wanted to know about prison. So please do stop by. Yes, I did. I have actually talked about this. I have a show somewhere where I did on this one. It's a pretty interesting case. All right, people, between now and the next time I see you, do me a favor, reach out and try to save somebody, huh? Have a great one. See you tonight.